I love words. My mother and grandmother taught me to love the written word. I read voraciously as a child, consuming novels like I was consuming bread. And from there, I developed a love for words and the way that they are formed. Etymology. Now, the study of words. Not to be confused with entomology, which is the study of insects. Or endocrinology, which is the branch of medicine dedicated to the study of hormones. But etymology, the study of words, of how we communicate our wants and needs and hopes and dreams and fears and desires. To me, words are the building blocks of the very best part of our humanity. I learned to write when I couldn't speak. Writing letters saved countless friendships from careless, offhand comments that I made in the heat of a debate by allowing me to take the time to choose my words more carefully. Writing in journals made seemingly insurmountable problems like balancing college and work, or learning to be both a we in my marriage while still keeping the me in myself become manageable obstacles. Words, quite plainly, saved me. They were my refuge. They were where I ran when something didn't make sense in my world. In the year and a half that it took my husband and I to conceive our daughter, writing helped keep me from going crazy. Banishing my fear and frustration into strings of words that I created helped me master the darkness that those feelings brought into my life. If I could look at what they were, look at the root of them written out in thick strokes of black ink in my own hand, I wouldn't be afraid of them. I could get a handle on those negative emotions, and I could overcome them. And I did. When I finally found out that I was pregnant, I began writing letters to our unborn daughter. As the only girl in the family with 4 younger brothers, I just knew it was my turn to have a little girl in my life. And when the ultrasound confirmed that yes, we were indeed having a daughter, I half believed that I willed it so, and I took great delight in telling my little Katie Belle as much in my letters to her. When we found out her heart wasn't developing properly, I began writing letters to my pastors to seek their prayers and posting messages on message boards, seeking guidance from women who had been down this path before me. I wrote down the challenges we would have to overcome, the surgeries, the expenses, the adjustments of all of our expectations for her life. And I realized that it would be okay, that we could do this. But when she was born, I didn't write. I didn't speak. I just held her as her father sang to her, and I kissed her, and I watched her quietly slip away from us. Never even heard her cry. My husband's beautiful words filled the silent spaces that day and many days after, but I had none. After the funeral was over, there were no words. Beyond the figurative turn of phrase that we use to describe indescribable emotion or overwhelming pain, when I was ready to try to write out the swirling flotsam and jetsam of anger and fear and sadness that had taken over my heart and mind, when I was ready to make sense of them with words as I had made sense of every other problem in my life to date, there literally was no word to describe my new state of being. See, when I was born, I was a daughter and a granddaughter. When I was 18, I was a woman and a graduate. When I got married, I became a wife and a partner. When my daughter was born, I was a mother. But when she died in my arms less than 24 hours later, I was nothing. Because there is no word in all of the English language that describes a parent who has lost a child. There's not one. And when I needed them most, I felt like my beloved words had abandoned me. And I became fixated on this anomaly. I looked everywhere. I asked other grieving parents. I asked every learned person that I knew. I did countless hours of research. And I finally came to the conclusion that my grief, although huge in my own mind, perhaps was not special or rare enough in the world to warrant naming. I shared this frustration at the lack of a defining term with a friend of mine one day, and the look she gave me was equal parts incredulous and pitying. "Ashley," she said rather forcefully, "you're a mother. You will always be Katie's mom. In some ways you mother me. You mother your little brothers. You're a mom, and you always will be." You know, it never occurred to me to research the word mother. It's just one of those words that you know. It's not like anthropomorphic or onomatopoeia or didactic. It's mom. It's practically everyone's first word. So I went to look it up. Mother, verb, to bring up with care or affection. Mother, verb, to look after kindly and protectively. Mother, noun, a woman in relation to a child to whom she has given birth. And I am all of those things. And as much as I love my daughter to this day, and I cherish her short time on this earth, and as much as I have never been able to answer the question, do you have any children? With a no since that day in November 5 years ago, I cannot ignore the other side of the equation. Every child has a mother, and it's me. I'm her mother. Maybe I didn't get to calm her nightmares or teach her to ride a bike or how to tie her shoes or how to read and to love words as much as I do. But by virtue of her tiny existence, I am a mother. And that was the word I had been looking for all along.